responsibility to accept and give. Make dua, but then leave it to Allah Azza wa Jalla and be hopeful of response. Among the conditions for dua to be accepted, sometimes we should try means that would even make the dua faster, short track, fast track. No wonder the Prophet said, before you make dua, invoke Allah. Invoke Allah. Unattend to Santa Allah. Use his beautiful names. By the way, for dua to be accepted, if you make tawassul, if you try to gain means, tawassul means trying to gain means, trying to gain nearness to Allah through means. And scholars unanimously agreed that only two tawassul are accepted. That is invoking Allah through his beautiful names. وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَادْعُوهُ بِهَا. To Allah belong the beautiful names and attributes. Invoke him by virtue of those names. Allah, Rahman, Rahim, Malik, Qudus, Salam. If you want mercy, Ya Rahman, Irhamni. Oh, the most merciful, have mercy on me. Allah said to him belong these names. Invoke him through them. You want Allah to show mercy on you? Use the word that through his names, use mercy. Ya Rahman, Irhamni. You want Allah to forgive you? Ya Ghaffar, Ighfirli. You want Allah to open all doors for you to success and provision? Ya Fatah, افتح لنا أبواب رحمتك إنك أنت أرحم الراحمين. So use the 99 names and attributes to invoke Allah. There was a man in the gathering of the Prophet. The man said, Allahumma inni as'aluka bi anna laka alhamd. La ilaha illa anta wahdaka la sharika lak. Al-Mannan badi'u as-samawati wal-ard. Dhal jalali wal-ikram. And in other narrations, what is added? Ya Hayyu Ya Qayyum. When the Prophet heard him say this, the Prophet said, this man has asked Allah with his name, by virtue of which whatever you ask will be given, and whatever you need will be solved. So basically he has asked Allah through Asma'ullah al-Husna, Allah's most beautiful name and greatest name. In another narration, another man said, Allahumma inni as'aluka bi anni ashhadu annaka anta Allahu la ilaha illa anta al-ahadu as-samadu alladhi lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. Again the Prophet said, this man has asked Allah by his greatest name, by virtue of which whatever you ask will be given. So use this tawassul and ask Allah. Another way of tawassul is ask Allah through the good deeds you have done in the past, sincerely to please Allah. An example came in a hadith where three men were traveling and it was raining. They actually needed shelter. They took shelter in a cave. Then it rained, and eventually, unfortunately, a rock actually fell at the bottom or at the mouth of the cave, covering the door. Then one of them said, the only thing that can save us from here is the good deed that we have done. Not only limited to that, but for the sake of Allah. Because whoever does anything for sure is guilty of shirk. So the man said, the only thing that will save us today is the good thing. So let each and every one of us mention one thing. Fast forward, one of them said, he had parents. He actually was good to his parents at one point. It's a long hadith, but in this case, he actually gave milk to his parents, even though his children were crying. The parents were sleeping. Out of respect, he stood and actually waited for them to give them milk to drink, whilst the kids were crying. He ignored his children and stood there until his parents woke up. Then they drank from that milk. He said, Ya Allah, if I did this only for this sake, for your sake, rather, grant us an opening so that we can have an exit road, an exigency. and it was open but not big enough for them to go out. The second one had an opportunity to commit adultery with his cousin, whom he admired so much. But when the cousin reminded him to fear Allah, he gave up everything and even helped her regarding the need she wanted. He said, Ya Allah, if I did this for your sake, please grant us an opening. It was open but not open enough for them to go through. Then the last one owed an employer a salary, who left without collecting the salary, and he invested that salary. When he returned, upon his return, he did not only give him the salary, but the investment and every profit that it earned without taking a penny. He said, Ya Allah, if I've done this for your sake, grant us an opportunity, or a way, an exigency, an opening, and it was open and they escaped. So if you use any good thing as prefix to your dua that you did for the sake of Allah, Ya Allah, I have done this and that, so and so a day, to so and so. If at all I've done that for your sake, please accept my dua. This is the tawassul that is accepted unanimously by scholars. Invoking Allah through his beautiful names, invoking Allah through the good deeds that you have done in the past. أقول ما تسمعون واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. اللهم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. أما بعد، اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم، وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. أما بعد عباد الله, if you want your dua to be accepted, don't lose hope in life. Do not despair due to the sins you have committed. Allah said, قُلْ يَا عِبَادِيَ الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ لَا تَقْنَطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ جَمِيعًا. Say, O my servants, who have transgressed beyond bounds and limits, who have actually wronged themselves, do not despair of the mercy of Allah, because he forgives all sins. So don't sit there saying, I am very sinful, I don't think Allah will accept my dua. No, be hopeful of the mercy of Allah. The worst of all is shaitan. When Allah said to him, Innaka rajim, you are rejected, he said, Rabbi anzirni ila yawmi yub'athun. Grant me respite, give me some time. I am the worst. I have been rejected. You're angry with me, but I'm making dua. Give me time to live for the rest of time in this world. Allah said, Innaka minal mundarin, you are given respite. So if Allah can accept the dua of shaitan, Iblis, la'natullah alayh, why do you have to despair? Why do you think Allah will not accept yours? So be hopeful of Allah's mercy and make dua all the time. Now, when is dua accepted? When is dua accepted? There are many times. You can make dua anytime. But there are specific times in which dua is not rejected. Among them is that the Prophet said, every night an angel is deputed to proclaim, to make azan, wadano, noda, an announcement. Who is it that will call unto Allah and he will respond? Who is it that will ask Allah and Allah will give? Who is it that would seek forgiveness and Allah will forgive? This happens every night. It happens every night. And the best part to make dua at the night is the last part of the night. Another place and time where dua is accepted is when you prostrate, when you are in sujood. The Prophet said the servant is nearest to his Lord when his forehead is on the ground. So invoke Allah through that time. Another Sahabi came to the Prophet and said, Ya Rasulallah, what dua is accepted? What time is dua accepted by Allah the most? He said, at the end of the night. And at the end of the obligatory prayer. When you finish praying Zuhur, Asr, Maghrib, or Isha, making dua, or Fajr, at the end. But scholars said here, some of the scholars said, you make dua after tashahhud, at-tahiyyatu lillah, up to the end. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. After tashahhud, before making salam, make dua at that point. That dua is not rejected. And of course, after serving Allah, after salam, make dua. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu asked the Prophet, he said, Ya Rasulallah, give me a dua. Then the Prophet said to him, say, Allahumma, inni zalamtu nafsi zulman kathira, wa la yaghfiru dhunuba illa anta, faghfir li maghfiratan min indik, warhamni, innaka anta al-ghafurur rahim. My Lord, I have wronged myself greatly, and no one forgives sins except you. Forgive me, a forgiveness by you. Warhamni, and have mercy on me. Innaka anta al-ghafurur rahim. You are ghafur, of forgiving, most merciful. So when you make salah, before, after tahiyyah, before salam, if you have an opportunity before the imam makes salah, make salam, make dua. Among them is this dua. Allahumma inni zalamtu nafsi dhulman kathira, wa la yaghfiru dhunuba illa anta, faghfir li maghfiratan min indik, warhamni innaka anta al-ghafurur rahim. And the dua that is not rejected is the dua of the fasting person. So when you're fasting, make dua. And immediately after breaking your fast, ذهب الظمأ وابتلت العروق وثبت الأجر إن شاء الله. The thirst has gone. The veins have been moistened. And the reward is established, inshallah. Make dua at that time, after breaking your fast. The dua of the traveler is not rejected. The dua of the parent for his children. Everyone here might have children or family. Make dua for them whilst you're fasting, because it's not rejected. If you are a ruler or a leader, be just, because when you are just, your dua will not be rejected. If you are oppressed, I would suggest make dua for your oppressors, so that Allah can guide them. But let's beware of oppression, because az-zulmu zulumatun yawm al-qiyamah. Another dua that is accepted is when it is raining. The Prophet said when it is raining, the special mercy of Allah descends. So make dua during that time. Another dua that is accepted is between azan and iqama. If the azan is called, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, after azan, before iqama, qad qamat as-salah, dua that is made in between is accepted. So of course when you go to the mosque, after azan is made, you're waiting for salah. That's the best time to make dua, because iqama is not up yet. So this means making dua on the day of Arafah is accepted. We are lucky you don't have to go to Makkah to have Zamzam. The Prophet said, Az-Zamzamu lima shuriba lah. If you have Zamzam at home, make it a point of duty, even though you're going to have a sip, before drinking it, make dua. Because the Prophet said Zamzam is for whatever reason or purpose it's been consumed or drunk. If you drink it for whatever reason, it will be accepted. So before drinking Zamzam or while drinking Zamzam, make dua at that spot, so that Allah can accept your dua for tabarakallah. So let's turn to Allah and make dua as many times as possible. And there are some duas that came from the hadith of the Prophet that are wholesome. His uncle came to him, Abbas, and asked, Ya Rasulullah, give me a dua. He said, uncle, go and say, Allahumma inni as'aluka al-afiyah. I think that was too short for him. He came back again and asked the same. He repeated the same thing to him. Go and ask for afiyah. Because afiyah gives you all the goodness of this world and the hereafter. This Sahabi, when they meet, they would not separate until they make this dua. Rabbana atina fi dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasana wa qina adhaban nar. No wonder when you're circumambulating the Kaaba from the Blackstone up to Ruknul Yamani, the Yamani corner, you can make any dua of your choice. But Allah actually chose a specific dua between Ramani corner and the Blackstone, that is Rabbana atina fi dunya hasana. What else do you want? Allah, give me the goodness of this world. That includes good health, tranquility, success, respect, dignity, provision, food, shelter, clothing. Everything that you need in dunya is in hasana. وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ hasana. Of course, hasana cannot be more than Jannah. وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. And save us from Jahannam. And for a dua to be accepted as well, we need to send salawat upon the Prophet. If you open dua, because that's what the Prophet said, Before making dua, he said, send praises, praise Allah Azza wa Jalla, and send salutation upon me, and then make your dua. Salutation upon the Prophet seals the dua. There is a hadith that even said that dua, acceptance of dua is conditional to salutation upon the Prophet. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammadin wa sallim. So we can go on and on and on and on. But bottom line, ibadallah, is make the most of this Ramadan. Whatever you cannot have in terms of dua in this Ramadan while you are fasting, where else can you have it? When Allah is there waiting to respond to our call. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما اعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت فانك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك انه لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت تبارك ربنا وتعاليت نستغفرك من كل ذنب ونتوب اليك ونؤمن بك ونتوكل عليك ونثني عليك الخير كله يا من يجير ولا يجار عليه اجرنا من النار ومن خزي النار ومن كل عمل يقربنا إلى النار ودخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا جبار إنا نسألك رضاك والجنة ونعوذ بك من سخطك والنار إنا نسألك الجنة وما قرب إليها من قول أو عمل ونعوذ بك من النار وما قرب إليها من قول أو عمل الله لا إله إلا هو الحليم الكريم سبحان الله رب العرش العظيم والحمد لله رب العالمين نسألك موجبات رحمتك وعدائم مغفرتك والغنيمة من كل بر والسلامة من كل إثم والفوز للجنة والنجاة من النار اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا هما إلا فرجته ولا دينا إلا قضيته ولا مريضا إلا شفيته ولا ميتا إلا رحمته ولا ضالا إلا هديته ولا مجاهدا إلا نصرته ولا عيبا إلا سترته ولا جاهلا إلا علمته ولا حاجة من هوائج الدنيا والآخرة هي لا قريضا ولنا فيها صلاة إلا قضيتها برحمتك يا عزيز يا غفار اللهم إنا نسألك العافية اللهم إنا نسألك العافية اللهم إنا نسألك العافية اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية والمعافاة الدائمة في الدين والدنيا والآخرة والفوز بالجنة والنجاة من النار اللهم إنا نسألك بأن لك الحمد لا إله إلا أنت وحدك لا شريك لك المنان بديع السماوات والأرض ذو الجلال والإكرام يا حي يا قيوم اللهم إنا نسألك بأننا نشهد أنك أنت الله لا إله إلا أنت الأحد الصمد الذي لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد اللهم إنك عفو كريم تحب العفو فاعف عنا يا حي يا قيوم برحمتك نستغيث أغثنا يا رب العالمين برحمتك يا أول يا آخر يا ظاهر يا باطن يا عليم عونك 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 يا الله للمستضعفين في كل مكان للمستضعفين في فلسطين وفي غزة وفي سائر بلاد المسلمين والمسلمات برحمتك يا عزيز يا غفار رب اغفر لي ولوالدي ولجميع المسلمين والمسلمات والمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات اللهم انصرنا ولا تنصر علينا وزدنا ولا تنقصنا وعافنا واعف عنا يا كريم اللهم انصر من نصر الدين واجعلنا منهم واخذل من خذل المسلمين ولا تجعلنا معهم برحمتك يا عزيز يا غفار اللهم عاملنا بما أنت أهله ولا تعاملنا بما نحن أهله سبحانك أهل التقوى وأهل المغفرة يا فتاه افتح لنا باب رحمتك إنك أنت أرحم الراحمين وارزقنا رزقا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه اللهم انصرنا ولا تنصر علينا وزدنا ولا تنقصنا وعافنا واعف عنا يا كريم برحمتك يا أول الأولين يا آخر الآخرين يا ذو القوة المتين يا راحم المساكين يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين يا فعال لما يريد يا حنان يا منان يا بديع السماوات والأرض يا نعم المولى ويا نعم النصير يا من إذا أراد شيئا أن يقول له كن فيكون تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم تب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم واغفر لنا وارحمنا إنك أنت الغفور الرحيم إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون فاذكروني أذكركم واشكروا لي ولا تكفرون